Greetings, Earthlings. For a bit, I've been straying away from partner commanders because of just how many there are and how open-ended the possibilities are. But I built a deck a bit ago that has some of one of my favorite off-kilter strategies amongst decks. But before I continue with this video, you guys have gotten us to 100 subscribers. I'm officially Commander Legal now! Isn't that awesome? No, but seriously, thank you guys. That's pretty cool. I honestly didn't think I'd even get this far with doing this, so it's awesome. Let's keep it going, shall we? So let me introduce you first to my boy Sidar Kondo of Jamura. For 2, a green and a white, we've got ourselves a 2/5 human knight with flanking and the ability that states creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. Now let's preface that ability by saying that that's any creature. So if you were to build a deck with him and you had like goading strategies, you can make it so no one can block anyone's stuff. You're the only one that can block things. So that's kind of a side note for that. Secondly, we have Ikra Shidiqi the Usurper. I know. Why don't you use Timna the Weaver? A, it's been done. B, she's expensive. So I'm good. So Ikra Shidiqi the Usurper. For 3, a green and a black, we've got a 3/7 Naga Wizard with Menace, and the ability where whatever creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So let's jump into this booty first and see where we go. Now the main theme of this deck, if you haven't already gathered, is unblockable big butts. If you like your face being sat on, this deck not only fulfills that, but it makes you regret it. The main meat of this strategy are cards that have you assign damage according to their toughness. So cards like Huatli the Sun's Heart, Ancient Lumber Knot, and the OG commander for this type of strategy, Doran the Siege Tower, makes it so you're dealing an insane amount of unblockable damage with creatures like Nyx Fleece Ram, Catapult Fodder, and Gorm the Great. Now you might be thinking, why don't I just run Doran the Siege Tower in the first place? Because I don't want my stuff to be able to be blocked. Because even if I can't get any of these toughness assigned damage guys out, I still want to be able to slip by for damage, whether it's 2 or 12, right? I still want to be able to get damage in. Now, it's not always guaranteed that you'll be able to keep Kondo on the battlefield, but that's where redundancy cards like Behind the Scenes and Bower Passage can come in handy. Kondo's ability specifically states that creatures without flying or reach, so we might as well make it so nothing can block us. But in the case that flyers or reachers are giving you a hard time, cards like Windstorm, Silklash Spider, and Mythos of Nethroi can take care of those threats and get them out of your way. Got flying creatures coming at you? Run cards like Tower Defense, Spider Silk Armor, or Spider Silk Net to give your board some blocking capabilities. And if you really want to get cheeky, run Gravity Well to just get rid of flying altogether for the turn. Now because of Ikra, you're going to be gaining life like crazy. And as we all know in Commander, life is your greatest resource. So running cards like Greed, Stronghold Arena, and Sapling of Kulfanor are great ways to get some extra stuff into your hand at the cost of some extra life. Well, Lost Dreams is always good in life gain decks if you have some extra mana to dump into it. Want more redundancy on that note? Run Trostani Selesnya's Voice and Fruit of the First Tree so you can gain some life back for ETB or when the enchanted creature dies. Abzan colors are known for both profiting off of death and recursion, so running cards like Ulvenwald Observer, Kulfanor the Last U, and Nethroi Apex of Death are great ways to get some value and kind of recycle fallen creatures. Nethroi is especially fun because there are a lot of low power but high toughness creatures to pull out with it. Got your grave nice and stacked? Fish out Ornithopter, Phyrexian Walker, Unhallowed Phalanx, Tree of Redemption, Rasadian Bashir, Nyx Fleece Ram, Doran, Baldan, Priest of Norn, etc., all for the price of 7. Now, I do run some really unorthodox removal like Grim Contest where 2 creatures fight with their asses, but a board wipe like Slaughter to Strong can tilt the whole field in your favor, as well as Fell the Mighty, because even though you may be dealing upwards of 10 plus damage with your creatures, it's all toughness while their power remains negligible. Having a hard time with beefy creatures because you can't keep Kondo out? Run Meekstone and just make it so they stay tapped forever while you get to roam free and sit on everyone's faces. Now, something I don't normally talk about, and I feel like I should, is the mana base. I usually run about 36 lands, and depending on the colors, anywhere between 3 to 4 mana rocks, 2 to 3 pieces of ramp, and 2 to 3 mana dorks. For this deck, I run Avacyn's Pilgrim, Paradise Druid, and Elves of Deep Shadow. For mana rocks, it's your usual Arcane Signet Sol Ring combo, with a few other Signets and Commander Sphere. And for land base, it's a bunch of dual lands and tri-lands, but one that heavily flies under the radar is Forbidding Watchtower. A man land that taps for white, or for 1 and a white, it becomes a 1/5 white soldier until end of turn. In most decks, that's just dumb. Straight up. But it can be a game ender in this deck. If someone's board wiped, but you still have Huatli or Assault Formation on board, you just oopsie it into a creature and knock somebody out with 5 or less life. Now, another land that can really help is Access Tunnel, that can add some extra unblockable redundancy. Some honorable mentions that I am meaning to include are cards like Brave the Sands, Orin Frostfang, Oathsworn Giant, that's hard to say, and a newer card like Delny Streetwise Lookout. Overall, similar to my other decks, this probably sits at about a 6 power level. I tend not to build decks for the sake of winning or to be overly powerful, because I like to stay on theme and abuse certain abilities or synergies in a way that can either be unorthodox or just not commonly seen. So, as always, if you'd like to see the whole deck list, Moxfield is the place to be, and the comments section, me you'll see. And without further ado, I bid thee farewell.